So at one point, this character on the left is known as Hertebes. He gives away the entire show to Orpheus by telling him the secret of secrets. He tells him, I'll give you the secret of secrets. Okay? He tells him that mirrors are the doors by which death comes. Now, this character, the woman in the upper right, she is the embodiment of death. She plays death in the movie Orpheus. And it's a statement to be interpreted in many ways. I'm not going to get into all of them, but it's just how great art operates. And when I interpret this in terms of understanding Twin Peaks, a lot of alarm bells start to go off like crazy. And one thing I do want to mention, and maybe I have this in my notes later on, but Hertebes on the left here, that's the name of. So Jean Cocteau, the director of the film, when he was standing in an elevator, I understand he, as I read the story, he had this voice come to him and tell him, because he always had this sense of like some side of himself, some spirit side, some eternal side, the daemon. And it told him what his name was, and it was Hertebes. And it just happened to be like the name on the elevator too, or some sort of strange story. But he names this character, and Hertebes is also dead and is Death's assistant. So he also dwells in the underworld. So now to this mirror stuff in Twin Peaks, okay? This like hit me like a bomb. Is it any coincidence that in Twin Peaks, the reflections shown in the mirrors in key scenes have been of Bob and Mike, characters both closely associated with death and the underworld, when in Orpheus, Death and her assistant are literally the ones who walk through the mirror, okay? So in both senses, death is transmitted by way of the mirror in both Twin Peaks and Orpheus. So reflection and movement through the mirror are both the same process of transmittal and or transport, okay? And conversion, you could argue, and storage, because we're talking about a mirror. So, I mean, Cocteau does this like brilliant 3-in-1 expression of the gunas we were talking about at the beginning, and I mean, he's just a genius. Lynch is obviously in the same company. So back to the secret of secrets for a moment, because this notion of mirrors and death also strongly relates to the idea of the doppelganger. There are many examples in folklore and literature where if one sees their doppelganger, it means that their death is certain, their death is near. Some of which of these stories are noted in Anthony Peake's book that I talked about earlier. So the secret self, or aspect of us, this eternal aspect of us that exists outside of space and time, if it appears directly to you in broad daylight, just you see yourself, not in a mirror, you just see, right? Then this daemon it basically means you're going to be dead, and at some point soon. Okay, it's not the end of you, but it's in this sense, but you're going to start, the transmission process starts again, right? So oftentimes, though, the daemon will try other roundabout tactics to try to save its eidolon. Now, obviously, the purposes of why the eidolon would do such a thing, I mean, that's also intimated in Cocteau's work, and also I suspect there's some of that in Lynch's work, but I won't get into that. Maybe another video that might be interesting. Now, in this same scene with Orpheus and Hertebes, there's an overhead shot, and we can see the floor pattern is the exact same floor pattern in the Red Room in Twin Peaks, right? This is an iconic pattern. And this floor pattern unconsciously brings a sense of transmission. Obviously, radio waves or transmission, the key word, transmission, which is a passage between worlds, okay? We're shown this very clearly in Cocteau's film. A radio signal into the ears or the reflection of light from a mirror into the eyes represents a certain transmission or transit from one world to the next in a very real sense. So this nuanced element of reality is explored quite beautifully in both the works of Cocteau and Lynch. And notice that Hertebes reminds Orpheus not to try and understand, but only to believe. Because in this scene, Hurtubise is telling him, listen, you can go and try to, if you want to pursue Eurydice into the underworld, because death steals her, basically. I don't want to give away too much, but she falls in love with Orpheus, and she steals his wife. And so there's, Cocteau puts a really interesting twist on it. And Orpheus is obviously heartbroken. He wants to rescue his wife. And Hurtubise appears, tells him, listen, dude. And Death just by accident leaves these magic gloves. And Hurtubise takes them and gives them to Orpheus. And he tells him, dude, you can actually go and you have a chance to go get her, but you got to go into the other world to get her. And you can do that through the mirror. And then he's telling him, you just need to walk into the mirror, basically. And of course, to Orpheus, he's like, what are you even talking about? So just like how the arm appears to be a guide or a mediator for Cooper into the Red Room, into the underworld, it's the same role. Hurtubise ushers Orpheus into the zone, as it's referred to in the movie. Okay, the underworld is called the zone. Another thing about the floor patterns also is that the two colors of the dual configuration represents duality, right? Twin Peaks. So I just wanted to mention that. Now, Hurtubise, and here they are, like completely walking through the mirror. Now we see them from the world of the living, and we can see like Orpheus, turning to see Eurydice. We can see them going into the other world, right? So Hurtubise is ushering Orpheus into this, the zone, as it's called, which seems to be the inspiration for the Red Room of Twin Peaks, complete with its zigzag floor pattern and dream-like atmosphere. Okay? Now, for 1950, this movie was absolutely groundbreaking, and Orpheus still holds up. I mean, love that movie so much. It's such a good film. Cocteau is he just does such a wonderful job, and he pioneered so many filmmaking techniques that are still used to this day that Lynch has put his own twist on and has used in different ways, and it's just a brilliant film. So unlike Twin Peaks, where the underworld is reached through what seems to be Cooper's dreams, because remember, Cooper has a dream and he's in the Red Room, and then later on, you go into the, it appears in the forest and that sort of thing. In Orpheus, it's through the looking glass, right? It's through the mirror, and Orpheus has to go through or into the looking glass to rescue Eurydice. And with a special set of gloves, of course, that Princess Death leaves behind on accident, Hurtubise instructs Orpheus to put them on and urges him not to try to understand, just to believe. I love this scene because, it really looks like he's entering this mirror. And then I'm thinking, like, when I'm seeing this, the first time I saw this film, I'm thinking, where else have I seen this, right? Well, I saw this we've all seen this in The Matrix, if you've seen the Matrix film. The scene made me instantly think of The Matrix, and it probably made a lot of you think of the same thing, where Neo pokes his finger into the mirror, right? This is definitely an homage to Jean Cocteau's groundbreaking piece of filmmaking. And then it got me thinking about The Matrix a little bit, and we'll take a little bit of a side road because I love to do that kind of stuff, as you know. And I realize this is a bit of a departure from Twin Peaks, but not too long. So, and the thing with The Matrix is it involves Philip K. Dick like intensely, right? It involves his ideas very intensely, as well as ideas from Jean Cocteau, which we're going to explore here. And can you tell I'm nerding out here? Because I just absolutely love this stuff. All the way through, up and down the chain, I just love this stuff. And so this peculiar nature of time and space and all this kind of stuff with playing with reality in all of its potentialities and possibilities and stuff is just fascinating.